All right, good afternoon, everyone. Right, thanks a lot for joining us today at this session. Right, we will start very shortly. Right, so if you guys are keen, feel free to take up the seat up in front here. Right, we will start very shortly. Right, so we have prepared a very short video to introduce what is this program IHCI about. Right, so after that we will be sharing a lot more in detail what is this program, the companies that have participated. Right, so hopefully this segment will help you to understand how this program has been helpful to a lot of Singapore companies as well as solution providers. All right, thank you very much. You can start the video now.
By 2030, Industry 4.0 is expected to revolutionize the manufacturing sectors by 30%. This would be the biggest paradigm shift in our manufacturing sectors since the invention of computers. Companies that choose not to adopt this transformation will face the possibility of falling behind their peers. But do our companies know how to prepare themselves and adapt to this change? Are they aware of the technological and human capital changes that are required for them to stay competitive in this ever-changing landscape? Times are changing and our relevance depends on our adaptability to change. But how do we do it? Let us ponder on this question through the lens of our heroes in this story. Here we are, in our island city, a first world nation with a population of 5.9 million, at the forefront of innovations and technological advancements. And here we have our 4 manufacturing leaders, from various sectors sitting around and getting their caffeine fix. But wait, why are these gentlemen so sad? What could possibly be a reason for their melancholy? Let's go around the table and figure that out, shall we? This is Mr. Lam. He is the CEO of a leading food manufacturing company in Singapore. Given Singaporeans' never-ending love for food, one must assume his business is booming, right? Unfortunately, no matter how big the business, it too has its challenges. You see, Mr. Lam knows what IoT solutions are, and he is aware of their existence. He wants to implement these in his shop floor to make his processes much smoother. However, his issue is that he has too many options. And like a kid at a candy store, he too is spoiled for choice. And that isn't a good thing. Ridden with indecision and overwhelmed by the vast variety of solutions, Mr. Lam is not able to figure out which of these many options would be most suitable to target his company's pain points. Our next leader is actually much further in his I 4.0 journey. This gentleman right here is Mr. Sui. However, unlike his name, his Industry 4.0 journey was not so Sui. You see, Mr. Sui bought what he had thought was the perfect IoT solution for his company. The salesperson sold him on the idea that this was what his company needed to rake in millions of dollars. An extremely elated Mr. Sui went on to teach his shop floor operators how to use the tools. However, he had not considered the human capital aspect in Industry 4.0 transformation. He could not convince his shop floor operators to use the technology, nor were they skilled enough to do so. And given that it is getting much harder to recruit the younger generation into this industry, it was an oversight that had costed Mr. Sui dearly. And that explains his sorrowful face over here. Moving on, we have gentleman number 3, Mr. Heng. Unlike Mr. Sui and Mr. Lam, Lady Luck was not entirely in his favor. You see, Mr. Heng's company is not as huge as the others and his financials have been struggling in recent years. This means that his risk appetite is much lower compared to the other firms and he cannot afford to direct resources into new technologies. He knows that government agencies are providing great amounts of support through grants to companies like his, but he's not able to determine which of these his company is eligible for. Poor fella. And lastly, we have Mr. Ray. Mr. Ray is... Actually, you know what? I'm tired of narrating their stories. This is his story anyway. So I'm gonna take a break and let him narrate his own story.
What? I have to do it? You know, whatever. I've taken over this family business in late 2019, which my dad has been running successfully for the past 10 years. As a new gen leader, I know that times are changing. But the thing is, the senior management just doesn't want to change. And I have no idea how I could convince them because they think I lack the experience to do so. They are so fixated on their current processes, and I am worried that at this rate, we will fall behind our peers in this industry. I just wish there could be someone who could guide me on changing their mindset.
Hearing the stories of these gentlemen, it is evident that they are in need of help. Sure, their problems may vary, but they all have similar intentions: to transform their respective businesses to one that is relevant to the modern era. If only they knew where to seek help. Perhaps they just need a gentle nudge in the right direction. Hey guys, I was sitting over there and I couldn't help but overhear your issues. And I think I might have just the right solution for you guys. Here, take a look at this. My company and I went through their program a couple of weeks back, and I think you guys would not regret it either. Alright? Cheers, fellas.
IHCI.
Looks interesting. It's a collaboration between public and private sector to help companies like us.
And best of all, it has government subsidies as well.
Hey, why not we give this a shot? Seems like a great opportunity to learn and get on board digital transformation.
Wow, the program was very useful. The consultants helped me to identify some of my essential pain points and untapped revenue potential. They even recommend me some IoT solutions for me to implement.
Oh yes, they also conducted workshops for operators on these IoT solutions. It gave them much better understanding of these IoT solutions and made it easier to integrate into their daily operations. Now I have so much data to add on for productivity improvements. Turns out, they also made us better employers for younger Singaporeans, as their job opportunities with good prospects for progression they are created within the company.
True. Undergoing this program has definitely helped my senior manufacturing leaders to understand the importance of I 4.0 transformation. In fact, I was able to convince them to implement the IoT solutions, and they were even receptive to the job redesign schemes that positively impacted my company. Post-enabler.
With the different government grants that were provided, I was able to partake in this greatly beneficial program at such a subsidized rate. It was definitely a worthwhile investment of my time and money to kickstart my digital transformation journey.
Definitely.
Another day, another company transformed. Industry 4.0 helps our SMEs stay abreast with the increasingly competitive world. IHCI is a unique program designed as a large-scale enabler for our local companies across the triple transformation of business, technology, and organization. Looking at the impact that we have achieved from our previous cohorts, it is evident that we have served as a stepping stone to propel many companies in their digital transformation journey. And you, yes you, the one who's listening to their stories and wondering if this might be for you, perhaps you should join us too. Who knows, you might find us aiding your company in more ways than one. Till then, cheerio, and I will see you at our next cohort.
Check. Thank you. I hope you guys enjoyed the video clip. I heard that some of the acting was better than MediaCorp actors. That's what I heard. My name is Bo. I am from McKinsey, Singapore. I lead the semiconductor electronics practice. I'm also the project director for IHCI. I would like to spend the next 15 minutes to probably answer 3 questions, right? Just to help you to better understand what this program is and how this program could help you, right, the companies or the solution providers to play a part in transforming the SMEs in Singapore. All right, shall we go to the next page? Maybe I can use this. Thank you. All right, let's start with what is Industry 4.0 or digital manufacturing, right? We all know this is the reason we're here in ITAP. We think the technology is able to provide improvement in productivity, right, across various dimensions without going through the details. But getting it right is not easy, right? That's the reason that folks are coming together to discuss between technology vendors, institutions, companies. Here are some of the challenges that we have heard from the leaders when they started out their Industry 4.0 transformation. Let me take you through. Number 1, lack of clear business case and return profile that justifies the investment. Number 2, there's lack of courage or institutional courage to push through radical transformation, right? It's not about incremental changes anymore. It's about radical transformation. Number 3, difficulty in attracting and retaining the right talent to drive the transformation. Right? Number 4, difficulty to coordinate actions across different organization units. Typically, Industry 4.0 lands on IT department, right? And we have always trying to tell our clients that this is wrong. It shouldn't be restricted to your IT department. It's a cross-functional collaboration. Cybersecurity, right? When you work with third party, what do you do with the data security, right? Are you going to be concerned about the confidential manufacturing data? Navigating the ecosystem of partners, right? ITAP, you get to see the solution providers. You're thinking, is that solution something is worth buying? Or you can create on your own, right? That's a big decision. Build, buy, or construct yourself. The other side of the pain points, including solutions being implemented, are disintegrated from the existing system. Many of the solutions are coming in with a bit of a plug and play without thinking about the IoT backbone. There's lack of consistency. Mindset of urgency, right? So it's time for companies to take on Industry 4.0 transformation. Is do or die that business imperative hasn't been communicated. Data availability, accessibility, and quality, right? As we're looking at the SME manufacturing companies, much of the I 4.0 gets stuck because of lack of data. So you can see here that the first push is to get the data live in real time and meaningful. Data ownership, as well as the integrating data and interoperability between different sources. Now, these are the pain points, right? We all know this. We don't need to be reminded how difficult this is. What this program does is this program is designed especially to tackle the first 2 stages when companies undertake transformation. From being aware to conducting a pilot to come up with a implementation plan, scale, and sustain, right? How do we get this right? We're drawing from the best companies who have been successfully transformed their business, right, in the Industry 4.0 scene. McKinsey is the knowledge partner with WEF, World Economic Forum. Up till September this year, there have been over 100 companies that have been certified as Lighthouse, right? So some of them, we also have representation from Singapore. We've highlighted 3, HP, Infineon, and Micron in Singapore as the Lighthouse. Now, what did they do right? This is the recipe. Triple transformation, right? What it really means is that, let's start with the top, right? Business, technology, and organization. Much of the Industry 4.0 transformation efforts from all companies around focuses on technology, right? The number 2. And it's getting partial success because you're not getting 1 and 3 right, Let me take you through. Business transformation is, simply put, you're focusing on value. Right? All the investments are dependent on the ROI, the impact to P&L. That's the first lens to decide what to invest. Number two, as we said, technology. You're getting to know the technology ecosystem, the IoT backbone. Equally important is organization. Pretty much, we don't see anybody that are doing upskilling training, or very few showcased in ITAP. Maybe this is also the reason that we're missing the big point here. Organization transformation. It requires upskilling of talent as well as the top team, your top leadership's change story communication. Hence this program. As you've seen here, IHCI program is an 8 weeks pilot. It is not a McKinsey program, just to be clear. It's actually sponsored by Workforce Singapore, administered by Singapore Business Federation. It has helped over 100 companies in the past 1 year. We'll continue supporting 200 more companies. Hopefully they will enjoy the benefits, right? What are the benefits? At a very high level, by the way, I wanted to highlight that these two programs has also been graced by our Deputy Prime Minister when he visited the completion product, as well as Minister Manpower, Mr. Tan See Leng, when he was launching this program mid this year. Typically, the productivity gain through the pilot ranges between 30% to 40%, right? Much of the productivity is coming through asset, through labor, as well as the quality. More importantly, we also looked at the upskilling or skill gaps for SMEs to undertake in I 4.0. We profiled the job roles that will be most likely impacted by Industry 4.0. And we highlight where the skill gaps are. Right? So there's a wealth of information we plan to publish in the next couple of weeks. So feel free to check out this program on LinkedIn. You will find those materials free available for you. IHCI, what do you get? You get 4 things for companies who are signing, right? You get a business validated, you get a serious assessment, and you also have the roadmap. Lastly, you have the HCDT, human capital. Now, very quickly, I'm going to move on to the next part of the IHCI program. Pilot helps companies to address the first 2 stages. To sustain that success, you need to be supported. Why is that? The odds of success is not favorable, as you can see from the left-hand side. Typical transformation is about 20 to 30% success rate. Digital transformation is even worse, right? How do we help them? Right? We've built an ecosystem of technology partners, upskilling partners, as well as business intelligence partners to support SMEs in launching their Industry 4.0, mapped towards that triple transformation. Right? Some of the names, we're going to invite some of our partners on the stage in just a 1-2 minutes. To find out more about IHCI program, please scan the 2D code. With this, I'm going to wrap up this presentation. I'm going to invite my colleague Roy to introduce 2 of our COP partners.
Thanks a lot, right? So just now, my colleague, Mr. Bo Huang, has shared that the program is designed to help Singapore companies to go through this journey of digital transformation at a large scale, right? To date, we have served more than 100 companies, but we are targeting 300 companies, right? And to make this effort successful, we need partners in the technology space, right? Solution providers that are able to provide quality service for companies to scale their digital adoption, right? So we created this ecosystem called Community of Practice, where we curate solution providers that are able to support companies in Singapore on their journey of Industry 4.0 adoption, right? And today, we have this honor to invite 2 of our very own COP partners to come and share their journey and their experience being a part of the Community of Practice COP. Right? So may I invite Mr. Chan Hai Kiang from FlexSpeed, Director of FlexSpeed, as well as Mr. Samuel Tan, the founder of WOG Industries. Please, Mr. Chan and Samuel. Thank you. Yeah. Great. Awesome, great. So we have Mr. Samuel from WOG Industries. and Mr. Chan from FlexSpeed. Both of them are also exhibitors in iTech this year, right? They have their booth. All industries over here. FlexSpeed is in the middle, right? So first of all, thank you for joining this session, right? Now, All Industry has been our partner since the start of COP, Community of Practice. And FlexSpeed has joined us just about 3 or 4 months back as a partner. And today we would like to invite them to share a bit on their journey being a partner in this program and how they were able to support companies that have gone through the program, right? So before that, maybe I can invite Samuel to introduce your company, yourself, and what solutions that you guys provide.
So hi, I'm Sam from Orc Industries. So essentially, the problem we are trying to solve here is that there's huge opportunity to capture in manufacturing, right? So if you look at improving OEE from 40 to 80%, that's doubling the output, right? Of course, many people are somewhere in between. But the problem that we are really facing is that digitalization is really not easy, right? The top challenges that you face, as you saw in the video earlier, a lot of them are deal with complexity, cost, the expertise, the skills required, and all these are very often a huge showstopper, right? So in Orc Industry, we really try to streamline that and ease it for company to adopt. And we simplify really to the first principle, where we can provide a Fitbit for machine. And if you think about what Fitbit does for human, it measures steps, the heart rate, and the sleep pattern. Right, so we do that for machines, so that you can track at the individual machine level. Right? But really what's more important is really the software. At the analytics level, how do you piece all this together as a system? Right? How individual machine become a line become a plant and become ecosystem, multiple plant in the region. Right? So we do that through the software to help customers to achieve those impact that you aim for. Right? And truth be told, actually, we are disrupting McKinsey a little bit. Because what we are doing is codifying some of this analytics into software. But I think that's also equally important, right? Because then you have the economy of scale, right? Because we are like the Wikipedia. In the past, only Britannica rich family can own, right? But with Wikipedia, no matter you're a huge company, we serve some of the Fortune 500, or you're a small SME, you can also adopt the solution, right? So just a little bit of introduction.
Mr. Chan, maybe you can introduce a bit about FlexSpeed and yourself.
Hello, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Hai Kiang from FlexSpeed Technology. Yeah, we are actually a machine tools manufacturer and distributor for the CNC machines. However, over the years, we encountered many challenges from our customers, especially in terms of manpower. So we are also now transforming ourselves to provide robotic solutions and also vertical warehousing solutions because of the challenges faced by the industries. Example, manpower, then the space is a premium. And to integrate all these solutions, you also need digitalizations because hardware alone does not really help them a lot. So we also develop our own ERP systems, and also we also have our own OEE, especially during this COVID-19. Borders are shut down, nobody is allowed to travel. How about companies having operations overseas? How are they going to monitor their overseas plan without traveling? So we do help companies to implement OEE, whereby the production floor can be monitored remotely. They can see the productivity, which production parts are being on the shop floor. And when there's machine, there's an alarm, there's an alert to the user. So in total, we are providing a total solutions for the manufacturing sector for the shop floor. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Chan. So FlexSpeed and Orc Industries, they have one thing in common, right? They are very active in the Singapore local scene, supporting companies big and small on their journey of digital transformation, right? So we wanted to ask a bit, right, from both of you guys, right? So far, what is your aspiration in supporting SMEs on this journey, knowing that SMEs, they tend not to have the kind of resource and maybe people or manpower to adopt technology, right? So from your experience, how do you guys position yourself to be supportive for SMEs to embark on this journey? Maybe I can invite Mr. Chan to go first.
Okay, for the SME especially, from what we see that the points that they're stopping them from embarking on this solution is actually more on the manpower. Of course, there's many other reasons like even investments, the cost of implementation. But I think taking a first step is very important. It's the human capital. How are you going to convince the workers or the management to change? So this change management is very important. And because not many people realize that automation is actually to help them scale up. It's not to change, not to replace the workers. In fact, Singapore is always facing a big challenge now. There's not enough workers around. There's not enough new hires you can hire. I think every company now here also agrees with me on this area here. Okay? So workplace automation actually addresses the concern of skill shortage, and in the region, especially in Singapore. And this brings through challenges. But however, with automation and digitalization, it brings opportunities. Because company can scale up, company can produce more value products, and also increase their productivity and efficiency.
That's very good. So maybe I can invite Samuel to share a bit, right? So earlier last week, we had a chat with Samuel. He shared something that really resonated with me, saying that technology serves as an equalizer for companies big and small to be able to compete, right? So maybe you can elaborate a bit more on how does org industry play that role in helping companies embark on this journey? Yeah.
So I think from day one, I think one of the best advice that we receive from VCs, venture capitalists as a tech startup, is try to be a product company, right? And not a service company. So I think that's something that's really tough to do in the industrial world, right? Whenever we go to a Fortune 500 company, we have a big company come with a 100-page tender specification and ask for this and that, and can you service this and that, right? So I think that is unfortunately the existing incumbent nature of the industry, right? But as org industry, I think what we've done really well is we hold steadfast to this principle. We try to be a product company. And by product, it can be a hardware, it can be software, it can be software as a service. But essentially, our investment is all into the product. And that's very favorable for the small company, right? Because you are not able to hire a huge consultancy like Deloitte or Accenture, right? And spend 6 months to map out a digitalization roadmap, and then spend another 6 months to implement. That's going to cost easily in the millions of dollars, right? By investing all our effort and all our resource and R&D into the product, we're essentially helping you to achieve the economy of scale, right? Because whatever that we invested in the product is used by the FNC, used by the MNC, the Fortune 500. In fact, last week we just shipped a same kit that you'll use here to California in US and deploy on a Lipton tea producer, right? It really equalizes you. The kit that you have here is the same kit that we deploy in US, the same kit that we deploy in Sweden, right? So long gone are the days where ABB or Siemens, sorry about that, but dominate the whole industry, and things are really expensive, right? So today, the problem is not really limited by technology, not by IoT, it's really by the will, right? So you have the will, and you really want to learn, it's not a problem, right? It's just having the will and having a determination. Yep.
Got it. Very helpful. So I think you mentioned something very important, right? Technology itself is not the main factor in allowing a successful adoption of digital transformation, right? So from your experience, right, both Mr. Chan and Samuel, when you guys are serving companies, what do you think could be other factors that are important to help companies to be able to successfully adopt a technology and also to make it sustainable for the long term, right? For example, like from a human capital front, how do we prepare our workers, our operators, to be able to operate the technology, right? Or maybe like change management, how do we allow our processes to be updated so that people will be able to transition from before technology to after technology? Maybe I can invite Samuel you to share a bit more on this front. Yeah.
Yep. So I think having done, so we are deployed on probably 70 factories now, right, with thousands of machines connected. I think one of the things that we learned, you know, as a young startup, we are just 4 or 5 years old. At the start, we are always very eager, right? So when a customer comes to us, hey, we want to deploy, can you help us and do everything, right? So the first thing we say, yeah, we'll do whatever you want, right? But over the years, something that we learned that was quite magical is that if we refuse to help them sometimes, they actually learn more, which is quite surprising, right? Because instead of asking for a fish, they learn to fish. And I'll be frank, I'll be honest, when we compare the Singapore customers, we also ship to Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, and Europe even. South Africa, we just ship a kit there as well. When we compare between Singapore and Indonesia, I'm a little bit ashamed, unfortunately, that in Singapore, because we are a victim of our own success. Everyone has a hub here, a regional support office. So if something is broken, the fuse is spoiled, call vendor, right? That's the first reaction, call vendor, right? Don't touch it, call vendor, right? Compared to a plant in Surabaya, 200 kilometers away from the nearest airport. Those guys are really independent, right? They learn about what their tools are, they learn how to fix it, they can even reprogram it if required, right? And the truth is, when we look at the customers that self-help and learn to fish versus those that ask for the fish, the people that really succeed are those that learn to fish. Right? Because what we are essentially providing is a Lego set. Right? This Lego set is only limited by your imagination. Right? You can use it to build something very shitty. You can use it to build something magnificent. Right? There's a Star Wars spaceship if you want. Right? So it's really limited by the people, will to learn. Yep.
So I think that the essence of that is our people need to be able to appreciate the purpose of technology, right? It's not just something that the management going to force them to use, right? If they are able to appreciate and understand the value of it, then adoption will be very successful, right? So I'm going to shift gear a bit to ask FlexSpeed's and Ox Industries' involvement in COP, right? So if I can ask, right, how have you guys find your involvement and collaboration with IHCI COP, and how does it help you guys to reach out to companies better through this structure? If I can invite maybe Mr. Chan to share that.
Through the IHCI program, I think this is a very good program for the industries to embark on, because McKinsey really goes in depth hand-holding the companies to understand their problem statement, the gaps that they have in their production floor or even the operations, and also the human capital problems. Because, of course, there's in the manufacturing floor or in operations, problems can be humans, can be operations. So this is the point that many companies, they themselves don't see the problem. But as McKinsey's side, they really go in depth and hold hands the customer to really understand their operations. So by doing so, partners like us, FlexSpeed, we are able to actually help the company to identify their problem and come up with solutions or develop new solutions. Because we are also a solution developer and also a solution provider. So we are very specific to what their needs are, so that the company can embark on this without fear of failure, and also the cost or concern, they will not be saying embark on it if they fail, and then the cost become a very huge cost for them as a SME. Yeah.
Very helpful. So I think to summarize that, right, the IHCI program allow a low-risk, low-cost platform for companies to pilot a technology, right? So through this 8 weeks journey, they will be able to learn how to use a certain technology, right? Both the management and the frontline workers will be able to appreciate it, right? And towards the end of the program, they will be able to see the value. They can even calculate the ROI of investing in technology like this, right? So WOG Industries is one of our earlier COP partners, and they have seen a lot of successful companies that have went on to work with them and purchase their solution, right? So if Samuel can share a bit on your experience supporting companies that have come out of IHCI, right? How do you feel supporting companies that have benefited from IHCI?
So I think IHCI complements with what WOG Industry does very well, right? Because as a lean company, as a startup, we are really ruthlessly prioritizing tech development, right? R&D and researching and growing and expanding market. Right, so one of the things that we definitely can't do is to convince the people, to educate the people, right? So we leave that to the government, right? They're doing a great job, right? And IHCI is one of them. So at the same time, when we put this thing two together, education as well as a technology that's helping this very simple, seamless way of adopting, when you put these two together, actually it makes wonders. In fact, I think the last we counted, easily a third or half of the companies actually go beyond the first 8-week pathway to really explore and sit down with us, right? So, well, it's a little bit of dilemma. I would say one of the things that we worry about working with SME, right? So if you ask a lot of tech company and you talk to Siemens and ABB, they don't really like to work with SME, right? Because their demand is very high, their budget is very low, right? And a lot of questions and support needed, right? So we are also a little bit careful, right? We have limited resources. But one thing we learned is that those companies that actually come out of the pathway, the enabler phase, and come into COP, they're actually people that are reasonable. They understand the limit of technology is very powerful if you use it in the right way, right? And they can see value, right? So you don't have to teach them why you need to care about this parameter, why is that important, what is 80-20, don't boil the ocean, Pareto principle, and always keep your eye on the business impact. Right? So I think that's the great thing about IHCI that really helps. And we are, between the IHCI alumni and the non-alumni, we are always very happy to work with the alumni. Yeah.
Thanks, Sam. So another thing that I wanted to mention is that for all the solution providers that are interested to onboard to become a COP partner, right, we always make sure that they are able to create a very structured pathway for companies to understand what are the solutions that they are providing, right? So both FlexSpeed and Org Industry, they were able to put out a very comprehensive 12-month journey of what a company can expect when they engage them for their service, right? So we have a lot of solution providers today, right? So if you guys are keen to find out more about how you can be a part of COP, feel free to reach out to us, right? So I think that's all for our segment with our partners, both Mr. Chan and Samuel, right? We're really thankful for you guys to share your journey with us, right? We look forward to continue partnering with you guys. The IHCI program will continue for at least another 1 more year, right? We do look forward to be able to support more companies in Singapore, right? And we are still looking for quality solution providers that can be a part in this ecosystem, right? So reach out to us if you have any interest, right? More than happy to have a chat, right? So again, thank you, Samuel. And
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
See you around.
So for the next segment, I will invite Mr. Brian Toy, a business development manager from AME International. And I'll invite Mr. Bo Huang to moderate the session as well.
Hello, test. You okay? Hello, test.
Can I? Okay, very good.
Hello, testing. Okay, working.
Very good. Thanks,
Right.
Brian, for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for inviting.
My name is Bo. I'm from McKinsey. I'm the project director for IHCI. Very much privileged to be able to invite Brian Toy to join this discussion, right? Instead of a modulator, I will actually just have a dialogue with you, right? Brian, why don't you give us an introduction of yourself as well as your company, right?
Yep.
AME.
Sure. Okay, thanks, Bo. Right. So thanks so much for inviting me. Right. I have joined the IHCI program under AME International quite a few months ago. Right. And my company, what do? We are a precision engineering company in the marine and offshore space. So we do products for the oil and gas industry. So you will know subsea drilling, production systems, going to the deep sea, some on the surface in the Middle East, North Sea, even in the Gulf of Mexico, right? We produce parts for our customers that goes into all these different very niche production systems around the world. So that's what AME does, right? We also have subsidiaries under us called TQC that does semiconductor solutions. So we produce aluminum parts for the semiconductor industry, right? And we produce these parts through a turnkey solution. So we buy the raw materials, we machine it here, right here in Singapore. We do the testing, get the products in, tested, and then deliver to our customers around the world.
Good.
Right.
Thank you. Brian, help us to understand better, right? You joined IHCI in cohort 3. Can you share a little bit about why you wanted to join IHCI and what was that experience like?
Right. All right. So I think one of the big reasons why I was introduced to the IHCI program was through Enterprise Singapore and also through SPETA, which is the Singapore Precision Engineering Trade Association. Right. So this program was introduced to us at AME, being one of the key members and a council member in SPETA as well. We were introduced. They said, "Hey, this is an interesting program administered by McKinsey and SBF. So would you like to join?" So we said, "Okay, let's have a look at it." And just nice, I had an ex-classmate that was in McKinsey, and she convinced me to join this program, right? So I joined the program, and I found that this was really a quite interesting experience, right? It was so structured in terms of the industry transformation, how it was brought across to SME, like myself, in Singapore, right? The way that it was brought across, it was structured, right? We had all these different technology partners coming to us over the past few years. Hey, we got this IoT solution. Hey, we got that solution for you, right? But you know, we kind of had to have something, right, put together for us in kind of a structured manner to guide us along this process and give us a clear picture on how to move forward, right? And I think that this is one of the, like when you mentioned, the pain points, right, of many of the SMEs today, right? What are some of the pain points that they are feeling is that, hey, I have all these technology partners, but which one do I go for? All right, what are the key points to go through?
Very good. So it sounds like your pain point number one is you get buried in the ocean of technology solutions, right? Are there any other pain points that you saw that you wanted to undertake Industry 4.0? Somehow it got stuck.
Yep. Like what you mentioned just now, right? Human capital is really a big part of the problems that SMEs today are facing. So I think it kind of falls into two categories. One would be for the taukes or the management. You know, in many SME, it will be the founders or the managing directors. They have to be convinced that this is the right path forward. They have to be convinced that, hey, we need to take this step, right? That's one. Number two would be all the middle management as well. If the middle management does not support the program, it will be very, very difficult to push things through, right? So I think through this IHCI program, what it enabled was my factory manager, my production manager, and even my MD, right? Seeing all the reports coming through, seeing the data, they were able to see, hey, actually we have so much potential to be unlocked in our production floor. So that was kind of the thought process that went through and how IHCI kind of addressed that pain point, right?
Very good. Now you mentioned about data, right? Looking at the data, it gives you ideas on where to focus, where the improvement ideas were coming from, right? Can you say a little bit more about the technology? Now we're shifting a bit, right? Specifically, what was the pilot about? What was the equipment that you were piloting this pilot solution on?
Right. Okay, so to give a bit of a context, we do CNC machining in AME. So we have from 50 to 60 machines in our production floor. So that's quite a number of machines. But of course, through this short 8-week program, you cannot possibly do all the machines. So we did a pilot program on 3 machines. We identified 3 that we wanted high usage, and we wanted to monitor, hey, how high is the utilization on these 3 machines? Why are they not being utilized? What were the reasons that they were not utilized? So one of the COP partners, WOG just now, we implemented 3 of their sensors into the CNC machines in our shop floor, and we analyzed the data after 2 weeks, after 3 weeks, after 4 weeks, right? What was the data generated, and what was the data trying to tell us, right? It's not utilized. Why? Is it because my machine operator was not there? Was it because the program was not ready, right? What are some of the key loss drivers? Because lost time means lost revenue. Is as simple as that for SME in the precision engineering space.
Very good. So it's really around selecting the right solution that has been proven, right? Quickly get into insights and helping your team to understand the performance gaps.
That's right.
And developing ideas on how to close it, right? Now, this is good, right? Now, let's shift gear a little bit, right? Can you say a little bit more about the human capital front, right? You talk about the top team or your taukes, right? They need to be convinced that this is something that you guys need to undertake, right? You also talk about the mid-management, right? So that's the buy-in front, right? If we talk a little bit more about skill sets, because adopting I 4.0 technology will mean a change of way of working.
Yep.
Right? Your supervisor, your operators are going to be looking at different set of data, navigating different type of management tools. Maybe it used to be paper record. Now they're shifting to, say, iPad-based IoT sensors, right? Did you see that was a challenge, and how did you see this challenge could be solved in the IHCI program?
Right. Okay, so elaborating a little bit more about this. I think the first key thing, the first ingredient is that the management level has to buy in, right? They have to be convinced. Now, the second thing is how to push across to all the different levels. So even to the executive level, to the operator level, how do you convince them as well? So through this IHCI program, not only did my mid-management see the data, we were able to share that with the operators as well. We showed them how to use the iPad to track all the lost drivers, what were the lost setup times, and those data were collected and went into a cloud database where the manager level, the planner, the scheduler, they were able to look at this data and the data were able to tell them a story, right, of what was going on. So for the human capital front, so it's going to change how the operators work. They will not only focus, right, on individual parts. Okay, I need to set up this, I need to prepare the tooling for that, right? They also have to look at the data, look at the planning and the scheduling. Now that everything's digitalized, right? What are the next production orders that they need to work with? And it's not on paper, it's all digital. So that's a change for them. But I think in today's context, right, most of my operators, they are all quite tech savvy. So they were able to catch on really quickly.
Yep. Okay, lucky you. You have slightly more advanced operators, right? I guess your point is still valid, is for many of the SMEs, operators' ability to navigate is one of the biggest challenges, right? So your company, as well as other companies, have really benefited in the IHCI program, the upskilling. Now, I'm actually very happy that you're passionate about manufacturing. IHCI is 2-month or 8 weeks program, right? So after this 8 weeks, right, what is your plan? What is happening since the Enabler program?
Right. So after this Enabler program, it kind of gave our management and the top management a clear idea how we want to proceed, right? We now have a clearer picture that we need to develop a very detailed, right, roadmap that leads us all the way to our end goal, which is we want to have a smart factory in Singapore producing high-value oil and gas components across the world, right? So that's our vision, and this digital transformation roadmap is going to get us there, right? So for the past few months, we've been developing this roadmap as well as working together and trying to gather information from all the different technology partners. We know where we want to get to now, but talking to all these different technology partners, seeing which solution would be the best fit for our business, right? So we have to talk to them and then put it all together into a business plan and roadmap, what we want to do in phase 1, what we want to do in phase 2 and phase 3. So to share a little bit more, phase 1 will be getting all the machines connected. We need to connect all the machines with all the IoT sensors and the hardware going in. Second step would be getting the software in. So integration of a manufacturing execution system, MES system with our ERP, right? We've got to get all those different silos connected, right? We've got to get all the different machines connected. And once that machines are connected, the software is connected, data is coming in, we can now look at the data and how to scale up our production, right? And reduce our reliance on labor as well.
Very good. That's very exciting roadmap, right? If you take a step back, right? And maybe this question is a little biased. I was going to ask you, how is IHCI helping you to build better confidence in shaping your I 4.0 future? I guess the answer is yes, no? Yes?
Yes.
Okay, very good.
Definitely
good.
yes.
Now, take a step back. What would be the key learning? What are the 2-3 things you learned in that Enabler program that have given you better clarity? What will be that 2-3 things?
All right. I think there is about 2 things that I find that is really, really important that I personally took as a key learning point through this IHCI program. So the first one would be change management, and that was shared to us during the boot camp of this IHCI program. Right? Change management, I think, is an important concept that many tauges or even the mid-management needs to know in many SMEs. Right? How do you communicate change, right, to the operator level? Right? How do you get the buy-in? That's really, really important. And the IHCI program really did give us a structured way of how to get this moving forward. The next thing would be technology, right? We were able to see what were the more applicable technologies and what were the first step that we need to do to get ourselves to our vision, our end goal, right? So that was the two main learning points of the IHCI program. And I think it was very, very beneficial for my company. And I've been sharing that with my subsidiaries as well.
Okay, very good. And if I summarize, really focusing on mindset change that's required for Industry 4.0 transformation, as well as finding the right technology quickly.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Very good. Now we're going to wrap up the conversation, but there's only one question left, right? The question would be, assuming that we have SMEs who are in the audience or joining online, or assuming you have technology vendors now, right? They're also figuring out, how can I even get my solutions out, right? I'm scratching my head. Solutions are good. Why SMEs are not taking it, right? What will be your one word of wisdom to the SMEs who have not started the Industry 4.0? Or maybe they've tried a couple of pilots that didn't achieve the desired success, right? They got a bit of a discouraged. What will be your encouragement for those companies out there?
I think the one encouragement that I will give to those SMEs out there, maybe some of you in the crowd, right? If you have not started on this digitalization journey, I think it will be a very wise step to take, right? Singapore is going into a smart nation. We have roadmaps coming in by 2030, right? We're transforming, right? And the manufacturing industry in Singapore is transforming, it's changing. And we're getting a lot of attention. And even ministers attended the ITAP as well. So I think it will be very wise to take the next step, how to modernize the business, how to go into higher value manufacturing, and that will be enticing to your customers as well, right? If your customers see, hey, wow, such an advanced factory, right? They have so much technology in there. They're willing to pay a higher price. They are more convinced of the quality. So I think it will be a good step to take in the years ahead, right? And talking about the IHCI program, it is a short 8-week program and is quite heavily subsidized as well. So I think it will be a very wise decision to try out the program, go for it, 8 weeks, and you'll get a much clearer picture on how to move ahead.
Very good. I guess just sign up, right? I guess that's the one word of encouragement, isn't it?
Yeah. Just go ahead and try. I mean, there's no downside to it at all. Like if it's not for you, at least you tried it. And but I do hope, and I think that most companies will benefit from it. At least 1 to 2 main key learnings they will benefit.
All right. Thank you, Brian. Thanks for your time and passionate sharing of your learning.
Yep.
I'm sure that many of the companies would have benefited from your sharing. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.